Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. Man, I am sick and tired of talking about how mid these Boston Red Sox are. I mean, I don't know how many podcast titles we can put out there that describe them being mid. They are mid. They go on a road trip here, and they win the first 2 games in Minnesota to extend their winning streak to 6 straight. Then they lose the next 2 to the Twins. And it's like, oh, man, we predicted a split. I can't remember if everyone did, but I think Jake probably went sweep, but I think me and Tyler probably went split against the Twins. And then you go to play the Chicago White Sox, and you're like, all right, like, let's get back on the horse. Like, this team fucking sucks. They take the first game. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. Will Fleming is tweeting like, hey, it's time to fucking get that ketchup rolling once again. I'm like, yeah, it is. I can smell the ketchup. I can taste the ketchup. I can feel the ketchup. They lose the middle game. And then they lose the finale. And I mean, I know that some idiots out there being like, oh, look at Andrew Benintendi. Like, how could they let Andrew Benintendi?
Oh, what? Hand up. Idiots. Andrew Benintendi, who has a 98 OPS plus, fucking spare me on that. That guy is the definition of mediocre, and he's carving you up. He hasn't even been a league average hitter this year. 1 homer. He hit 1 homer, and it was in Seattle, what, a week ago? Like, spare me. Luis Robert, you want to friggin' torch me? Yeah, dude, you're a superstar. Like, that's a guy who's going to run this league for the next 10 years. Andrew fucking Benintendi, one of the worst offseason contracts handed out to anyone. If the Red Sox had given him 5 years, 75, Chaim Bloom would, I don't know, he'd be in protective custody. People would have lost their mind that they were willing to give a guy like that money. You let him carve you up?
Fans want to pick and choose. Like, I get people are upset, you know, but you got to pick your battles. And I love Andrew Benintendi. I'm in a small way. I'm like, you know what? Good for you for having a big series against the Red Sox, because whether they were right or wrong, the Red Sox gave up on Andrew Benintendi. They did. They were like, you know what? It's not working out. And after 2020, you know, you flip him to the Royals, and that turns into Franchi Cordero and Josh Winkowski. And who else was in that deal? There's 2 other guys.
Luis De La Rosa was part of that deal. Freddie Valdez and Grant Gramble.
Okay,
just came back from Tommy
just
John.
Josh Winkowski,
or an injury. Excuse me. He had a foot problem.
You got a half decent reliever out of it. I mean, he fucking blew the middle game. Dude was just giving it up left and right. Nice little reality check for him. But I think,
don't forget, you don't have Hunter Renfroe that year if you choose to hold on to Andrew Benintendi either.
Yeah. I get, and I'm not even like, I would say that the vast majority of Red Sox fans understood that move, and I don't think that it's not the best comparison in the world. But when you compare like the Xander Bogaerts contracts, like, we all love Xander, but no one is going to give him 11 years, $280 million. Like, no Red Sox fan is like, why didn't we match that? And then you look at what Andrew Benintendi got from the White Sox, and we had put out there that the Red Sox did make an offer to Benintendi, but I think it was in the neighborhood of 3 years, and there's no way the money was comparable. But then he goes to the White Sox for 5 years. No one at the time, and still really, no one was like, why didn't the Red Sox match that deal for Andrew Benintendi? Everyone was excited, or at least intrigued. We maybe didn't know enough about Masataka Yoshida to be like, quote unquote, excited. Some people were excited. Some people were like, okay, yeah, like, let's see what this guy has. But that would have been the preferred choice over Benintendi at that time. But yeah, Benny goes out there and has a fucking big series. Luis Robert just drops his pants and hangs his nuts over your forehead. And that was the difference. That was the difference in the series. The Red Sox offense, again, not doing dick. And even in the game that you won against Lucas Giolito, it was really one bad pitch. Like, Devers got him on like a slider in to hit the 2-run home run. The first run that he allowed was like a stolen base, and then he threw the fucking ball into center field, and that ends up being a run. But yeah, it was one bad pitch to Devers, and that was the difference. It was one swing got you one win in this series, and then the next 2 games, offense didn't do dick, and the White Sox made the best of every opportunity that you gave them.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think they struck out 17 times in that first game.
They did, yeah.
Like, it was historical that you won a game where you struck out 17, and the reason you were kind of like, all right, things are moving. We talked about some of these games this year where you needed one swing from Devers, right? You just needed that one big swing. He gave it to you. You win it. Brian Bello continues to be what Brian Bello is. Really the biggest bright spot on the Red Sox, but they beat themselves. And that's what this Red Sox team does. It's the same storyline. Like, I got a bunch of tweets. I don't know if you did, Jared, like, after that first win on Friday night, like, Jared and Tyler are so negative about the Red Sox. They keep calling them mid. This is what they are. Like, seriously, it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Did you see Steve's tweet?
About the record, month by month, right?
So Steve tweeted the record for each month: April 15-13, May 13-13. So far in June, they're 12-12. If there's anyone, I didn't see those tweets. But if you have an issue with us calling the Red Sox mid, you are an idiot. You're dumb. Like they're just what they're the definition of mid. Like you can break it down for the whole year. They're game over 500. That's mid. Month over month, they're mid. It's pain, and that's why I said they're painfully mid, because they're any way that you chop it up. Like let me look at the home and road, because I think that's also in the same. It's not like they like suck on the road, but they're dominant at home, and like that's been the balance. The Red Sox are 19-21 on the road, and they're 21-18 at home. Like they're mid, no matter where they play, when they play, how they play, where they anything. It's they're not good, they're bad, they're not bad, they're just kind of there. And I know that kind of like the sentiment all along, because I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm not really frustrated. I'm not like depressed. Of course, we're not pumped up. We're not excited. Like there's going to be no positivity horn, unfortunately. But it's kind of just like, this is what we expected, and now we're just getting it. Like there's no surprise. I think most of us expected them to be kind of like in that 85 win range, like slightly above average. And once we get to the end of the line, we'll figure out if that's a playoff spot or not. But
the reality is, are you going to be going through a good stretch that last week of the season, or are you going to be going through a bad stretch?
That's it.
And where's the health, right? Like that's the scarier part about all of this. We're seeing the injuries start to, pop up, and it's like, where are they going to go? James Paxton in game 2 goes down. It's like, oh, well, here are the Red Sox. They already have an opener.
Well, Bradford said that he talked to Paxton said after his start, I still expect to make my next start. And then again today, I mean, obviously you probably have a better feel for it the next day. And he reiterated, like, I'll probably still make my next start. So I think they knock on wood, they may have dodged a bullet there.
And if I were the Red Sox, apparently Paxton said this is something he's dealt with in the past. If I'm the Red Sox and there's even a slight worry, he shouldn't be starting. And it's not because you do need him out there. Don't ruin your trade chip. He is your biggest trade chip going into this trade deadline. If he, re-injures this and misses a month, you are taking significant value from that piece away. So not only protecting him, because if you think this team's going to go anywhere, he needs to be that guy. He needs to be him and Bello at the top of that rotation. Otherwise, and if we're just being realistic, you need to get something significant for him. You have to. You cannot throw that away. And yeah, if it's another week where you have to throw it together and pray, and you're pulling depth from here and here, that is what it is. Do not risk him going down long term, because that would hurt you in so many different ways right now.
Yeah, because right now you're in such a tough spot, because you've got injuries. You're not good. You're not bad, but you're not out of it either. So on the subject of Paxton, let's say that knee's barking at him the day before his start. To Tyler's point, maybe you just take the ball out of his hand. If he tells you I can go, you kind of have to sit there and say, well, maybe we don't want you to go. Because as of right now, the Red Sox are 3 games back of a wild card spot. So it almost dangerously mirrors where you were last year at the trade deadline. Like you're 2 games back of a wild card spot. And you may sit there and say that sentence out loud and say, well, let's just say, because they were 2 games back last year, they're 3 games back right now. Let's just say by the trade deadline, you're 2 games back. Do you have what it takes to get that spot? Like, do you have what it takes to overcome that 2-game deficit and leapfrog? Because it's not going to be just one team in front of you. Like you're dealing with some other teams that might be ahead of you right now. It is the Houston Astros, you're 2 back of. The Angels, you're 2.5 back of. And then you've got to leapfrog the Blue Jays, and then you've got the Yankees in the mix. Like there's teams that are ahead of you, even though you can say out loud, yeah, we're 3 games back, whatever. So that's the spot that they find themselves in. And that's why, I mean, Alex Cora after the game was doing his press conference. I think he's tired of answering the same fucking questions all over and over again. Like we make fun of it, or not make fun of it, but like we always like point it out when he's done answering questions. So just be like, we good?
He jumped like 3 questions before today.
There were like 5 we goods before he finally got out of there. He just was not having it today. And I would be, and I don't know how you felt about this play in particular, because it didn't end up making a difference. The Casas play at the end of Saturday's game, people were pinning the loss on Casas there. And then today, the Benintendi triple that drove in a run, triple down the right field line, throw comes into Casas and he holds it. He threw to third. Benintendi was safe, but if Casas is looking to right field, receives the baseball and immediately goes home, that run is cut down. Again, that run didn't make a difference. I still think if Casas makes the decision to go home before the baseball gets to him, you're probably looking at an out at the plate.
I think it's maybe. I think it's a maybe. But Cora made the point after the game. He's like, I'm not mad at him for that. I'm mad for him throwing to second, for throwing behind Benintendi when he's going to third. What is your reasoning for that? That's where you kind of need to be paying attention a little bit more. But, going home, Cora said it best. They missed the first cutoff man. You put Casas in that in-between spot, you hit the first cutoff man, you're going to get him. Then you're in a good spot. That's just, once again, and we've seen from these outfielders, all of them at times, they don't know where the cutoff man is, or they're overthrowing them trying to be a superhero. This is the land you live in. You talk game 2, ball explodes on him. There's a reason it was switched from an error to a hit. Cora said after the game, he should have made that play. He would hope. It did take a bad hop. Casas said the same thing. What do you expect them to say? Like, Casas is going to say that one way or the other. Sure, in a perfect world, he should make that play. But when you're talking about a guy in his first full big league season, guess what? Those are the growing pains you're going to go through. And what's the reality? You're only in that game because he hit a 2-run homer in the first place. The guy who has been your best bat this month, entered today with an 880 OPS in the month of June. But there's so many people, waiting and jumping and hoping to laugh at him and be like, oh, look, he sucks, he fails. Spare me on it. Like, there's growing pains with these younger guys. The cutoff stuff, I was happy Cora kind of stepped in and was like, yeah, it's more about the Benintendi side of things where he should be going to third and not second. Going home, yeah, maybe it's a close play on a perfect throw and you get it. You got caught in between because in the first place, you didn't hit your cutoff, man.
Mm-hmm.
It boils my blood. Like, the people celebrating, like, oh, there's Tristan Casas, and then he's not in the lineup to start today. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, come on, man. I understand, like, a hard lefty. You tell me one of the best lefties in the game, Clayton Kershaw's out there. Sure. Yeah, that scares me, right? Sit Casas down. Give him a breather. Tanner fucking Banks. What is Bobby Dalbec giving me there? Are you just hoping he hits a homer so he's worth something so you can trade him? Is that it? Why is Bobby Dalbec playing? Because I know he can't play a good first base, and I know he can't hit in the big leagues.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
About what?
Everything that you just said.
If you'd like to break it down. But that's the thing that frustrates me here. It's like,
it frustrates
can we
you?
be FR? You heard it.
I didn't hear it.
But the young guys, like, Casas should be out there, dude. We're talking about a team going through offensive struggles. Like, get him out there. And he didn't have a great day. I'm not going to act like he did, but he's been one of your most consistent producers this month. Like, what is, you have had no faith in Bobby Dalbec to come up here since everything earlier in the year. Now we're going to give him this start for what?
I'm not trying to take playing time away from Tristan Casas.
No, he should be out there as many days as he can be because he needs to learn and he needs to get more reps and more games under his belt. It's about next year. Don't everything you have done, all your actions have pointed to next year. Don't start playing this game with me.
Well, if we open the show talking about the trade deadline, don't you think if Bobby's tearing it up down in AAA that it makes sense to get him a look up here?
I don't think it's going to change much because I think the minute he comes up here, he's going to derail his value again. I'm about putting the best lineup out there when you needed to take 2 out of 3 today. And the best lineup had Tristan Casas in it. It'd be one thing if I thought Dalbec was going to do much at the big league level. What? The Red Sox don't believe in him. They've had no reason to call him up with all the injuries and the depth things that have had going on. Give me Tristan Casas out there. And like, I feel a similar way, like Jarren Duran. He's looked a lot better the last couple weeks or so. Like, I understand it's a little more crowded out there. We're not talking Bobby Dalbec, who's a quadruple A player. Or, we're talking Adam Duvall and, No Verdugo. But, you have Yoshida out there. You're trying to balance everything out. I want to see Casas and I want to see Duran. Those are the most exciting things for this team and the best thing for them moving forward. I need them out there as much as I possibly can.
Well, I will say this. I hit my parlay on Friday again.
That's one win.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
It's a big win for me. Been hitting a lot of those recently. Baseball fans, you could be winning every inning with the hottest offers in the game. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered from the top of the first to the bottom of the ninth all season long. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can take a shot at bigger payouts with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place your parlay by combining 3 or more bets from the same game. Or you can just take mine on Fridays. Every additional leg gets you an extra boost up to 100%. Step up to the plate right now with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. Opt-in and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Jake, how you feeling about your Boston Red Sox right now?
Yeah, it's like, it's not even frustrating anymore. You just expect it. Like, I can't even get excited about 6-game winning streaks because I know they're about to probably lose the last 2 games of the series and then lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. So it's just, it's tough when you just expect mid like this at this point.
Yeah, like I got this tweet during the game today. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm tweeting about the Red Sox as I always do, as I have tweeted every single game since 2009, since the birth of Twitter. And this dude tweets me and says, Carabas pretends to still be a Red Sox fan. LOL, he's pretty convincing. Pretending to be a Red Sox fan. I mean,
we're fighting. We're fighting for we're battling here every day. We're still showing up.
If you're watching 162 games of this fucking goddamn team, no one can tell you that you're not a fan. No one can tell you. I watched all 60 games in 2020. I haven't missed a Red Sox baseball game probably since I was in middle school, like because I was outside playing with my friends.
I wasn't even alive.
Yeah, like it is. Like I don't know what people want, because like I'll even have like Red Sox fans being like, "We want the old Carabas back. Like we want the Rocket that's talking shit about what? What the fuck am I talking shit about? They're 500. They've been 500 all year. Like even like the 6-game winning streak was to get back to 500. It wasn't even like, oh, like now we go where? Back to 500. That's where you're fucking going. And then you're just going to hover around there again. So I know that people expect a certain brand. People are like, oh man, like, you know, ever since Jared went to DraftKings, he's not the same. Bro, the Red Sox they've been fucking 500. They've been in last place. Like, that's the correlation. It's not the employer. It's the fucking team. It's the brand of baseball that we have to sit here and watch every single night. Like, what do you want from me? How much of a clown would I look like if I'm fucking talking shit about, because I don't fake it. Like, if I'm talking shit, yes, like in my normal day-to-day life, I'm pretty quiet. I'll just sit there. I don't speak unless spoken to. But if I'm talking shit about the Red Sox, yeah, I'll turn my personality up a lot, but I mean what I say. I don't believe in this team. Like, it has to come from some place of authenticity. I don't believe, like in 2018, right? The Red Sox got off to whatever it was, a 17-3 start. The Yankees caught them in May or whatever it was, like early May. They caught them even after a historic start to the season. But I was still talking my shit because I believed in that team. Like, I believed in it. I was like, yeah, like, all right, fine, you caught us, but we're still going to fucking win the division. We're probably going to win the World Series. Fuck you. We have the best team. Like, I can say all that. Do I think the Red Sox are going to go on some fucking 20-5 run and win the division or comfortably be in a playoff spot? And look at what the rotation that we have lined up for the playoffs. And at least we have the best offense in the league and all that. Like, I don't feel that way. I don't know how you expect me to react or talk about this team in particular when you're watching the games, right? Like, if you're listening to this podcast, there's no way that the Red Sox have played the way that they've played, and then you're consuming even more Red Sox content on top of that. And you don't need me to tell you that this brand of baseball is fucking boring and it's painful to watch and there's nothing exciting or fun about it. Like, let's just, you know what, for the sake of positivity, Tyler, let's take 5 minutes to point out some of the things that we've liked about watching this team. It's been fun watching Masataka Yoshida prove a lot of the fucking executives that said it was a bust contract. That has been fun to watch. It's been fun to have him shove that up their asses.
Shout out to Ross Atkins getting exposed, by the way, as we all know now. But yeah, it's the Masataka Yoshidas. We're going to talk about Brian Bello. He's the biggest bright spot. We're watching a guy who's going to be a top of the rotation pitcher, for the foreseeable future. The first true homegrown talent since Clay Buchholz. Like, that's what you get excited about. A guy who, now in his last 10 starts, it's a 2.45 ERA, 3.56 FIP. Like, that's what you dream about. I think JP Long had the stat, and it was 5 pitchers that before the age of 25 have had those kind of numbers over 10 starts. It's Bello, it's Lester, it's Eck, it's Clemens, and Seeley. Like, that's the class you're talking about here. If he ends up amongst those names, this Red Sox team has a very bright future, and that's something you can cling to.
Sure.
A guy who added a cutter. Like, he cares so much, he's adding new pitches and just bringing them in. That's stuff you dream on. That's a real positive that you can cling to every night.
And Cora got excited, too, when someone asked him about that. Like, after Bello's start, I don't know who it was. Someone asked about, hey, did I see Bello throwing a cutter out there tonight? And he was like, yeah, you did. So yeah, Bello becoming who he thought he was going to be. And still, even at this point, I don't think that he's even close to reaching his full potential. And he's already a frontline guy. I'm not going to sit here. All right, so let me ask you. Would you call Brian Bello an ace right now?
In the grand scheme of things in the big leagues, no. Is he the Red Sox ace? Yes. And I'd put it there. I think I
don't think that every team has an ace. I
agree.
You can't, just because you're the number one guy doesn't make you an ace. I have upgraded Bello to, because at the beginning of the season, there were some publications that didn't even have Bello in the rotation. They were just talking about the Red Sox as if Bello didn't exist, which was wild.
That like the Yankees quite a bit.
Yeah, they do. But I think when we were talking about the rotation at the start of the year, it's all right, Bello factors to be in somewhere around 3-4. That's pretty good. And now comfortably, you could say he's their number one. So I've upgraded Bello to a frontline starter.
Yep.
That's
Perfect.
accurate. He's a frontline starter. But I think the difference between Bello being a frontline starter and an ace, that comes with the strikeouts. He's probably 8 and change right now for strikeouts per 9. Yeah, okay. So if he gets to that 9, 10 strikeouts per 9 region, we're talking ace material. So that's not me criticizing Bello. That is actually, I'm trying to be positive here, where there's still room for him to grow. There is still, he has not touched his ceiling. Of course not. It hasn't even been a full year in the big leagues. The fact that we've gotten this kind of production from Brian Bello this quickly since his call up, that type of stuff, appreciate this, because that type of stuff doesn't happen to the Red Sox. As someone that has been watching Boston Red Sox baseball for many, many years now, I can't remember since maybe John Lester, a guy that has been highly touted, came up and became that guy from a pitching perspective to live up to the hype. And he's living up to the hype, but I also think that he has the potential to be much, much better than this. So that's exciting.
And I think the Red Sox realize that too. And that's where, some people get annoyed with it. I saw a couple people being like, oh, well, you keep saying Brian Bello, evaluators had him as a number 2 or whatever it is. Well, that's the 3.56 FIP, right? We see the mid 2s ERA right now. The command needs to get a little bit better. That was the main thing. Apparently they were working on in between bullpen sessions. Core was saying he needs to start hitting his spots a little bit more, and we'll see the consistency. what sticks out to me and when you become a frontline pitcher is when I can see you and you don't have your best stuff. You know, Brian Bello struck out 5 against the White Sox there. I think we'd all say it wasn't his finest stuff that night. The velo across the board was down about a tick, and it was one of the few times this season he started on regular rest. So maybe that factors in a bit here. But when I start to look at a pitcher and I say, all right, that's a guy who can be at the front of, you know, any rotation, you consistently, no matter what, I'm getting 6 innings, 7 innings out of you. If you can go out and give me that length in today's game where so few pitchers can give you that length, and that's why Cora keeps pushing him. That's why Cora says, hey, keep going. This White Sox start, it should have been 7 innings. David Hamilton makes the error, and he has to end up working for an extra out. But there was a moment in that start, and Cora said, Bello looked up to the scoreboard, and he saw Giolito's pitch count, and he got all upset. He's like, fuck, like, I'm not going to go deep into this. That mindset right there, I fall in love with that shit, because there's so few pitchers in baseball that are thinking like that. And that's where I think maybe some of the strikeout stuff I don't think as much about with him. And people tweet me his Savant page, and they're like, well, it's not all Reds. Like, what does that mean? Bello is more old school than he is new school. Like, that's part of it. He works for ground balls. He said it himself. He's like, I don't care about strikeouts. Mm-hmm. I want to keep the ball on the ground and leave it up to my defense. And that's why you get, you know, plays like Devers made the other night. That was incredible. But that's the stuff you're kind of banking on here with him. It's a little bit different of a profile, more of an old school profile, but it's all coming together, and he's going to get better with every single start out there. I think one of the biggest questions remaining is what the body holds up. What are we looking at in September? Mm-hmm. And maybe this year isn't even a great inclination of that because it's its first full year in the big leagues. It's just, what does the smaller body frame, what can it handle?
Jake, what's something that you've enjoyed about watching this season so far?
I've enjoyed watching Jarren Duran sort of develop into a almost everyday player after, like, obviously a nightmare season last year, but having him come back, I think he's hitting like almost 300 at this point. He's fast as fuck on the bases. He's really cool to watch.
He's a game changer. He's a difference maker. His style of play, it does in a way remind me of Jacoby Ellsbury. Like, when he's on the bases, it's different. Like, he has the ability to put pressure on the pitcher, on the catcher, on the defense. You know that guy's on the bases. You don't have time to mess around, and that has been a nice addition. The fact that we knew he had that speed, but speed means nothing if you're not on the bases. He has been on the bases plenty this year.
I'll add to that, 3 stolen bases in one game. I don't know if it's a little bit of, in the second game, if he's like, oh, David Hamilton's here. Mm-hmm. But, like, that's the gap between those kind of guys. Like, Duran talks about it. Hamilton glides. Ellsbury glided. Duran is like, it is. I think they called it like a lizard running on water. There was someone in the minors who said that's how they compared Duran, and that's where it is. But he's learning what it's like to steal bags in the big leagues, and that was something he didn't have those first 2 years. Now I watch him, I'm like, he's getting confident. He's willing to kind of push the envelope when they need that moment. And I think that's what you cling to with the improved defense. I need him out there as much as humanly possible. I need to know if he's the center fielder for the next, 3 or 4 years, because that's a serious, question mark you need figured out going into the offseason. Because if it's not, then you have to go do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's called being positive when it's really hard to be positive. That's a great segment. Good job, everybody.
Thank you.
It's really difficult to be positive after losing a series to the Chicago White Sox. One of the things that was going around on Red Sox Twitter today was a guy like Luis Robert goes off, hits a bunch of homers, and immediately, we got to trade for this guy. Well, it's like, do you really? I look at Lucas Giolito and say, all right, yeah, like, that's a guy that I would trade for, but he's also going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Like, you're not giving up assets for a guy like Giolito when you're not going for it this year. Why not just keep your assets, spend them on something else, and then just give Giolito the bag in the offseason? Fine. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to have Giolito here. But, like, Robert's the type of guy that you build around. Like, the White Sox have plenty of movable pieces that'll fetch them nice little returns, and Robert should be the Will Smith meme from Fresh Prince, where he's just standing in the empty room looking around. Like that's the one guy that I'm just like, listen, I know this is gonna suck, but we're going to blow it up, and you are a part of this core and also the next core that we're trying to build. He's young enough. Like, I just don't, if I'm the White Sox, I'm not even entertaining the thought.
Hell no. And dude, like, first off, they came out and said, like, anyone who's an expiring deal, we're going to talk. If they have multiple years here, no, we're not. You know why? Because their farm system was ranked 28th coming into this year. That you want to talk about being in hell, and, you know, they suck, but their farm system sucks on top of it. It's the double negative for them. It's not going to get better. They're looking at a very long stretch of bad baseball in Chicago, and it's because they had a window and they absolutely missed it multiple times due to, you know, bad managerial hires, injuries, players not performing. If people realize what it would cost to get Luis Robert, like Marcel Meyer, I enjoyed our time together. Adios. Nick York, it was a fucking blast. Miguel Blaze, see ya. Roman Anthony, you hit your 4th home run at high A. Peace out. Like, you're giving a super, super package away. That's not what you're going to be able to play for. You're looking for that younger arm. You know, I keep bringing the comp up. It's like a Joe Kelly, some arm that you like. And now, obviously, Joe Kelly ended up being a reliever here, but if you see someone and you can work out the right deal to get a controllable starter, cool. Or a position player, however it fits, that's what the Red Sox need to be looking for. You can make yourself a little bit better by getting a piece long term like that. But overall, expiring deals, man, like, this outfield can't be crowded like this. You need Duran playing every day. Like, it's just not going to work. That's where you got to figure this whole situation out for yourself.
I could see Joe Kelly coming back here.
Now, that's a much different tune than you had when we had this conversation. What was it? A year ago, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the tune has changed a little bit.
What if it's not my tune?
Oh, is it someone else's tune?
What happened to Bullet?
He died.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Joe Kelly's the kind of guy, like, you know, if it ends up being over the offseason, I don't know if it's the kind of trade deadline move they look at, but I like Joe Kelly. Like, Joe Kelly's put together a pretty solid year this year.
Yeah. You know, I guess we'll see.
When you trade one of those relievers at the back end of the bullpen, someone's going to have to get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Pick your poison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have an issue.
With?
I don't want to say it.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to say it.
Who is it? Is it with someone on this podcast?
No. It's a player.
Someone on the Red Sox?
It's almost, some would say it's an issue with myself.
You have an issue with maybe someone that has issues with other people?
Some would say that. some people would float that kind of concept.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a Josh Winkowski problem.
Yeah, we do.
We can't run from it at this point. And listen, this is not erasing what he did that first month of the season, and really first month and a half. He can't miss bats anymore. We're back to what we were a year ago, where the swings and misses and the strikeouts, they've fallen through the floor. You go back to May 1st, 5.4 K per 9. Like, he is not beating anyone in that sense. And it's 6.3 for the year currently. I didn't love Korg pushing him for a second inning, but I understood where the bullpen was. Like, Berger takes you deep, Robert takes you deep, Vaughn takes you deep, but he's not fooling anyone. And there was no strikeouts in that outing either. If I'm the Red Sox and you look at the FIP right now, it's 451. Like, that will tell you all you need to know. It's great that the ERA is still at 284. He can't be put in a lot of high leverage spots. And I don't know if they need to go and say, we're going to stop with the multi-innings for him for a bit. We're going to kind of just say, go out for one inning and go back to maxing out yourself as much as you can. But Nick Pivetta needs to be ahead of him on the, you know, if we're talking the bullpen rankings, who you trust, Pivetta needs to be that guy.
I'm looking at some velo numbers here. I guess it's yeah, it's not been a huge dip. Like, the average velocity on the sinker has been about 95, 96.
I think it's more, like, in my opinion, it's like just less exposure. Like, try to get him into those one inning bursts and build it back up again. Because I think trying to get 2 out of 3 out of him, it's created some habits maybe where he's like, it feels just closer to starter Winkowski, and that's not what's going to work for this team.
No. And then there's like some of these outings, like he's not throwing a 4-seam at all. So he's going out there with 4-seam, sinker, change, slider, cutter. And then some outings, like he went like almost a month without throwing a changeup.
Crazy, right? Like, And that's the stuff that kind of scares me. Like, we're talking about a guy who the one thing you could go and say was he wasn't going to give up homers. I think he had one like in his first 42 innings this year. And now he gives up 3 in one outing. I don't know. And there were stretches where we saw the Red Sox were really serious about staying away from him and how hard they were working him. I wonder if that's a little bit of it too. Like, he has 44 innings out of the bullpen and it's June. Like, that's a heavy ass workload. We're talking about a guy who's going to throw 90 innings out of the bullpen this year. Yeah. You know, if he kept pace and doesn't get hurt, they need to reel it back in with him a little bit. I think he's overworked. And I think the league has adjusted to him in some ways. He needs to make the adjustment back.
Yeah. The numbers don't lie. I think the first thing you want to look at when a guy is struggling like that is the velocity. Velocity seems good. Then you want to start looking at location. Like, you want to start looking at where was he getting swings and misses before, and where's the hot zone now in terms of where he's pitching guys, and are guys still swinging and missing at those pitches? That's kind of what I'm looking at with Winkowski.
I think if you look at Winkowski here, and excuse me, I'm working up with a little bit of a crazy setup here with the iPad. I'm pulling numbers up. I'm not as quick as I usually am. Mm-hmm. But if you go back just to June 1st, I believe, on Winkowski, a guy who, you know, we complimented his control. We thought that was one of the better things. This month, it's a 4.2 walk per 9. Dude, you can't strike out 5 and walk 4. I think that's where maybe you're not seeing the velocity difference. The command isn't there. And maybe that's because guys aren't swinging and falling for the stuff on the corners or whatever it may be. He needs to be almost perfect command-wise to succeed, and that's not him right now.
That would make sense, which, again, goes back to the chase rate stuff and where he was getting the swings and misses. Like, what part of the zone or out of the zone was he getting the swings and misses, and how does that look different compared to now? Like, are guys just like, hey, you know, in this count, like, you're probably going to get like a slider away, or it's going to be a changeup off, like, just spit on it and wait for the heater or the sinker or whatever he's got going. Maybe there's some of that going on, to your point about just having a better feel for what his plan is against righties or lefties. I mean, because they've got him out there against both. Like, it's not like he's just only going out there for favorable matchups. But yeah, he got taken deep, 3 times on Saturday?
3 times.
3 times.
Once in the 5th and twice in the 6th.
3 times.
And that's not me telling you, like, I don't think Josh Winkowski could be a really good reliever. I still think there's a really good reliever in there. It's just the adjustments need to be made. And the sad thing is where this pitching staff is right now, they're so desperate that they need his innings, especially when, you know, Paxton comes out after 4 innings. Cora doesn't have much of a choice. It's just scary because how are you going to keep piecing this thing together when you know 1 out of every 5 days you have an opener in a, you know, opener situation you're trying to survive.
Yeah. This roster is leaves a lot to be desired.
It's tough, right? Like, and I see some people now, they're like, well, look at where this roster is and everything. Yeah, some things have been bad luck. Some things are just injuries. But for a while, the depth held you up. It's just, you say they're 1 or 2 injuries away right now. Like, I feel like you're sitting there and, like, I'm holding my breath. You're 1 bad injury away where this starts to really fall on top of you.
Well,
Shane Drohan today comes out with a calf issue. And it looks like it's nothing serious, but, like, that guy is probably your best starting option sitting in the minors right now at AAA, and he just got to AAA. Like, people are panicking when he's getting hurt. You're like, shit, man. Like, this is how thin we are.
Yeah, well, think about it. I don't have the date in front of me, but I would venture to guess that if you looked up the Red Sox record since they lost Chris Sale, it's probably a lot better than what you would have guessed it to be at the time of the injury. I think, you know, it's you look at the season as a whole, 500 team, month by month, 500 team, and how many times have we heard Cora say the roster is the roster? Well, you lost Duvall early, who was the best player in baseball at the time, and you were able to tread water and still be a 500 team. Then you lose Chris Sale, and like that wasn't something that sunk the ship because now Bello has emerged and Paxton has been much better than you thought he was going to be. Which kind of just goes back to the whole point of Duran, where one guy goes down and someone else unpredictably has stepped up and replaced that player's performance. So I don't know what the injury would be that would break the camel's back, because even if it's like, all right, who's the best player on the team? Rafael Devers. Like, if Rafael Devers goes down, it's like, yeah, like you lose his presence in the lineup, but he's having his worst season ever. Like at this point, who's the one guy that if you lose him, you're like, we are fucked?
Brian Bello.
Yeah.
And I throw Paxton, but it's either of those guys because the rotation can't take another hit.
No.
And where I want to give credit to Heim, like the depth has held through so many injuries already. Like they have held, but at some point you got to realize like this was an 85, maybe, 81 to 85 win team. There is only so many injuries they can take. And a lot of people be like, well, you could have predicted these injuries. Sure. You're not going to see me disagree with that. Chris Sale going down. I'm not going to fight you. Trevor Story going down during the offseason. I think that's more of a freak thing. Duvall, all right, like that's a bad luck kind of spot for you. But, Yu Chang going down, Pablo Reyes, like how many guys have come in and stepped up for you to hold it? Like now you're like, all right, well, we got Caleb Hamilton behind the plate and it's him and Connor Wong like trying to piece it together there. The bullpen, like you lost John Schreiber. You predicted John Schreiber going down. No, it's just eventually you realize there was just only so many bullets this team can take. Credit to them for taking as many as they have, but they can't take many more.
Taking what?
Why did I do that?
What happened to Bullet?
He died.
Yeah. Sad. Jake, you have any blue moons this weekend?
Yeah, I had a few.
Yeah. What, Saturday? Friday?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
I'm sad you didn't ask me.
Well, I mean, I figured you're down the Cape, right?
My fridge is full of blue moons right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's just an obvious question. Like Jake's
I've
home,
had-
Jake's been working. Like you're just vacation city right now.
Oh, I'm fucked up. I'm completely destroyed.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are going down to P-Town. We have a couple of things we're gonna go do there. We're gonna ride some bicycles around. Depend on the weather, if it plays the way it needs to. We're gonna go to a couple nice restaurants for lunch
You're
and
gonna
dinner.
ride a bicycle?
Yeah, dude, BMX. You ever BMX, bro?
You got a BMX bike?
Back when I was in my younger days, like 11 or 12 years old,
Mhm.
my mom owned a tanning salon, as I mentioned, and I hung around with the Bridgewater neighborhood kids, and they were very into BMX. And I went off a couple ramps.
You did.
I got hurt a couple times, but little ramps. I'm not talking about some, X Games shit, but I took my little Walmart mongoose and, I could rip it a little bit.
There's always something that like Tyler says every show where I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like,
Dude.
like Tyler's like, yeah, dude, I go on like a little BMX, like I'm doing like the X Games shit. Like, do you think Tyler, who tried to assassinate himself with a paintball gun, also in his spare time is doing X Games?
I was just a kid who wasn't scared. And like, I remember I was in Bridgewater and I was with a couple of the kids I hung around with, and they were much better at riding bikes than me.
Mhm.
Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the back of a plaza in Bridgewater. It's near the railroad tracks. It's where Roach Brothers GameStop is. If you're from the area, there was a hill that led from like the back into the plaza. Dude, I don't know what I did. Like I went as fast as I could down, ate shit. And there was a cop sitting there. Now I laid there for a second. Like, when you don't know if something's broken. So you're just like, I don't want to cry. But if I sit here for a minute, I probably won't let a tear out. The cop came over and asked if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Cool. It's my like knees gushing blood. And he offered to give me a ride home. But I decided not to take it out of pride.
Okay, so you're riding bikes tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to come see me throw out the first pitch for the Born Braves.
I don't think so.
It's too bad.
Are you nervous?
No.
You saw Zoe throw out the first pitch at the Woo Sox game?
No, I did not.
You missed that?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I expect better from you.
So
it was a little high.
I don't look at my timeline. Like I look at my mentions and I look at my video tab. That's it. That's really it.
It seemed like a big thing in Worcester that day.
Well, I don't live in Worcester.
Fuck Worcester.
I mean,
I wouldn't go that far, but it's not Brockton.
it's not Brockton. Did he throw a strike?
No. Absolutely. Like it got caught. But very high.
Is it on his Twitter?
I don't know if he posted the video. I posted it.
Let's see if the Zolak and Bertrand Twitter account. Oh, they tried to drive people. Oh, where is it? Is this it? Okay. Did he do it from the rubber?
No, it was like in front.
Oh, come on, Zoe.
It wasn't his fault. He asked for the rubber. I'll give him his credit.
He had a live mic before he threw out the pitch?
Oh, dude, a little speech.
All right, so in front of the rubber. And, oh, a little high.
A little high. It's hot.
It's hot. All right.
I'm gonna be on. Can I be real?
Yeah.
Throwing out the first pitch seems like the easiest thing in the world.
Tyler.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. I'm not a bitch. I'll say
Tyler.
How hard is it to just lob it in there?
Well, that's the point. You're not supposed to. If you're a baseball guy, you can't lob it in. You got to put some mustard on it.
No one wants to try hard that's actually trying to airmail. It just like easy. Like give me the smooth follow through.
No,
drop it right in there.
No.
Almost looks a little bit like a hook.
No one wants, like the fans want to see the heat.
What are you, George Bush?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You don't have that heat.
I wish they had the video of my first pitch for the Lowell Spinners in 2008. I went off the bump and I threw like a legit fastball. It had to have been in the 80s for sure.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
And like
strike?
Yes. I wasn't, because like back then, like it was before social media. Like I was just on MySpace. Like I wasn't nervous because I was like, none of these people know who the fuck I am. And like, no one's ever going to see this. So if you go, I don't have a copy. Let me see if I have a picture though. I know like the picture is in my book, but I'm going to pull up this picture right now and show you.
Knowing that you were pumping 80 with that frame at the time makes me very fascinated what you could do today. Like if you actually put yourself into it.
Yeah, but like I could, like I guess if I actually, I mean, when I was throwing to Alex Bregman, like the pitch that he hit for a home run was 82.
All right, it's there. If you had a throwing program,
but like I'm too bulky now. I'm too bulky to throw that hard. But yeah, spring of 2019. Okay, here it is. I gotta get this out of the light somehow. Yeah, there we go.
Let me see. All right, okay. It's clean. You got good mechanics.
Yeah, like I threw as hard as I possibly could, and it was a strike. And then there's like a picture. I don't know who the prospect was, but he was like, "What the fuck was that, dude?" Like I did not.
Do you want to play for us?
I did not give him the heads up that I was gonna throw it as hard as I possibly could.
All I'm saying, listen, I'm not important enough to be throwing out first pitches, but I had someone reach out in recent weeks about playing in a men's baseball league. And, you know, I pondered it for a second. Is it time for Tyler Milliken to make a comeback?
No.
Is it time for
Nope.
Tyler Milliken to surpass what 8th grade Tyler Milliken was?
No.
Not even a thought.
No.
Shouldn't even think about it. What if this is part of my remake? Like, we've talked about reinventing Tyler Milliken. What happens if I'm just supposed to be out there playing some ball?
No. I think we need to remake you first, and then you go play ball.
So there's a chance I could be back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would tone down some of the nerd comments, like, "Oh, this nerd doesn't know a thing."
I don't want to like just skate past you saying that throwing out the first pitch is the easiest thing.
I think I would be able to handle it. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you could. Maybe you're like Manny, where you're just such an airhead that the big moment doesn't get to you.
You insulted me there, but I'll let it slide.
No, that's true. It's a compliment.
Just keep the arm loose. Like, just keep it loose. Get it in there. Just kind of like let it drop in.
I'm not nervous for this one. Like throwing out the first pitch at Fenway Park, Red Sox Yankees Sunday Night Baseball, like that. There's no higher pressure than that. And I threw a fucking seed right down the plate to my manager, Alex Cora.
I think I'd feel it a little bit. Like, obviously at Fenway Park, that's a big day. That's a big moment. I think down from that, I'd feel pretty loose.
But you have to understand too, in my position, like, you know that there are guys in the Yankee dugout being like, I can't wait for this motherfucker to fuck this
Jared.
up. And then the idea that video is going to hit Twitter instantly and you're just going to get torn to shred. Like, so many people want me to fail that I would like anytime that I tweeted about baseball or if I criticized a pitcher for the rest of my life, that video would have gotten tweeted at me every single time. So I have to be the leader, go out there and throw a fucking seed that's a strike, because that's what leaders do. I have to be like, hey, listen, you're not going to talk shit about me because I can go out there and do it. But that's why the pressure that was on my shoulders, and I still succeeded.
I can relate. That's why to like 2008, Jared. We're like, all right, like who the fuck am I, right? Like who's gonna give a fuck if Tyler Milliken can't get it to the plate?
Yeah.
Or if he misses left or right for you. Yeah, the video that would be, you wouldn't be able to say anything for a long time.
For a long time. And
all I'm saying is like I'm not going to go out there and 50 Cent it or call you Ray Jepsen. Like I'm going to get that to the plate.
Sure.
And will it be a strike? I don't know. I wouldn't air it out because velocity wise, I don't think I ever topped out above maybe 7.
They got to let me throw a little bit. Like if I that's gonna be the difference between if I gun it or if I lob it. Is are you gonna let me throw first? Like if I can play catch with someone first, then like if I'm like stretched out, like we've played like catch and then we played some long toss. And I'm like, oh, I feel fucking great, and then I can just get up there and like air one out. Like I'll do it. But if they're just like, hey, we don't have time, and then I'll probably just lob it.
Okay. So I think we're in a similar spot.
Yeah, like I threw out the first pitch for the Spinners, full fastball. I threw out a first pitch for the North Shore Spirit, aired that one out. Red Sox, Yankees, aired that one out. Linfield Little League, lob ball.
There's certain, like, I just feel like it's so aggressive, like airmailing it out. It is a lot.
Well, I mean, I think when I threw out the Spinners one, it was a minor league prospect. Like he can handle that. Cora caught the Red Sox one. Jared Saltalamacchia is catching my Born Braves one. And the Linfield Little League was like a 10-year-old girl. I'm like, I'm not gonna get up on a Little League mound from 40 feet away and just gas it to this child.
Bitch, you're a bitch.
I'm not.
Don't disrespect her.
I'm not.
She's out there on the field.
That would be the most hardo video of all time to get up on a Little League mound and just throw it as hard as I can to a child.
I would have respected you more. I would have said, this guy doesn't give a fuck who's out there. He's bringing the same intensity. If it takes her out, it takes her out. Listen, like lives are lost in the process. I know that better than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you just got to push yourself forward above anything else.
Yeah. I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
Bitch.
I know. But I can tell you what I will do while I'm there.
What?
Drink a Blue Moon.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah, Jake, please tell the folks at home about Blue Moon.
Beer is a tried and true baseball tradition, but Blue Moon is the only beer brewed by baseball. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition whether you're at the park or watching from home. I had to have a couple Blue Moons after I heard about Tyler talking about riding a BMX bike because I was just laughing too hard. Just picturing him riding up one of those jumps and flipping around and landing on his head like an idiot. I had a good chuckle about that over a couple Blue Moons. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something one-of-a-kind? Its bold flavor, bright color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantee a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful, bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Keep baseball traditions alive with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to find Blue Moon delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate that a lot.
We got really sidetracked there, huh? That was...
Well, I mean, I want to see you throw out a first pitch for someone. And I guarantee you there is someone working for some baseball team somewhere that is going to DM me and say, hey, let's get this Milliken first pitch thing going.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I have been dealing with some shoulder, tendonitis recently.
Nope. And
something.
And
the
I was
rotator.
supposed to throw out the first pitch again for the Spinners in 2019, but that game got rained out. That was my bobblehead night. You can't not air one out on your own bobblehead night.
All right, I qualify that bobblehead night. All right, you kind of do.
No, some team is gonna reach out to you or me and say, hey, you want Milliken to throw out a first pitch? Let's do it.
All I'm saying is I don't care if there's a 10-year-old behind the plate. I'm airing it out.
All right. You're going to throw it to the backstop.
No, I am not going to throw it to the backstop.
Jake, what do you think Tyler's going to do if he throws out a first pitch?
Right to the backstop.
Right to the backstop, dude.
All right. What would Jake do if he had to throw out a first pitch?
You'd probably throw it right down the fucking plate.
No, he would.
Yes,
Jake,
he would.
Jake, you would. Would you? Do you have ice in your veins like that?
Yeah, I'd be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy you think that he can't. That's the crazy part.
I'm just saying I feel pretty confident. I think I have more command versus velocity, but
You don't.
I can always put the ball where I want.
You don't have either.
Have you seen my 8th grade highlight tape?
That was a long time ago.
What has changed? I'm stronger. My calves are more juiced than ever.
I don't think so. I'm telling you right now, I can't throw as hard as I did in 2008 when I was in baseball shape back then.
I don't mean to be rude, but you're past your prime.
I'm in my physical prime. I'm just not.
You're
in my
34.
Yeah, and I look the best that I've ever looked in my life.
I am a 25-year-old man at peak athleticism and conditioning.
You look like
right
shit.
now.
I am the
Whoa!
I'm the strongest that I've ever been in my life right now. But I'm not in the best baseball shape that I've ever been in my life.
That's your problem. I've been preparing every single day in case the Red Sox ever needed someone. And
Are you
I'll
going to
add
be
this.
a diva and say that you're only going to throw it a first pitch if it's the Red Sox?
Oh no! I'll throw it out for anyone.
For anyone.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's definitely like going to be some like men's league dude that's like, hey, like you can throw out the first pitch on our Sunday beer league.
I can set the tone for anybody. What I will say, whoever decided to write my calorie breakdown in the subreddit, uncalled for.
They did that?
I need you to pull this up, Jared. Jake, did you see this?
When did
Pulling
this
it up
happen?
right now?
2 days ago. It is the longest post I think I've ever seen written in the subreddit.
It's your caloric breakdown?
Yes.
Do you remember what the title was?
Let me see. It's 5,000 calories. It was like something like that.
Oh my God.
You guys need to see that. This person, I'm scared about how much they know about me. I'm starting to think my mom might have wrote it. Maybe Martha wrote it.
Tyler is the most memeable person in podcast history. Like this
What's that
fucking
mean?
like I gotta scroll past like 30 goddamn threads about Tyler. Just all kinds of Tyler shit right now.
All right. It's the 5,000 calories. Are you looking at that one?
No, I still can't find. There's one about Uncle Bucky.
R.I.P. It's like 5 down.
It's 5 down. All right, so I went way past it.
Right under the spider one.
5,000 calories? Question mark.
Yep. Now scroll just a second.
Okay. It's really not hard to eat 5,000 calories if you eat the stuff that Tyler is saying he does, especially at the times he claims. Let's dive in. Tyler, wait. Oh my God, this is a fucking manifesto.
I told you.
I can't read this whole thing, but he said, too long, don't read. Tyler may understand calories very well and could realistically actually consume 5,000 per day. Departing from the joking tone of this post to get serious here for a moment, I think we all hope Tyler makes more sustainable choices moving forward so he can live a long, healthy life, unlike Bullet.
I'm going to be okay, guys. I'm not dying. I promise.
Yeah, so like the last paragraph here says, we're at 5,250 calories for the day, even without accounting for game time. Thank goodness for the pitch clock to limit those opportunities. And we haven't even considered possible extra fries, sauces, sodas, game time snacks, or anything else. The silver lining, we have lots of calories to fuel our legs.
I don't eat breakfast. I am anti-breakfast.
Well, that's dumb.
No, because I like to save my calories for the other meals.
Okay. Are you a calorie counter?
When I was losing weight, yes, I was like extremely
You're not anymore.
calorie counting. No, I'm bulking.
You're bulking.
Heavy bulk diet right now.
Okay. Are you lifting?
No,
So you're just cultivating mass.
I'm just building up.
Okay. This is the perfect time of the year to do it. Just
Oh yeah, like no worries. I'm excited to hit the beach this week.
yeah. Okay. What do you what are like when people that go to the Cape? What do you usually do?
It's a lot of beach time, but this week, like today, honestly, was actually pretty nice. But it's a lot of like, you go play putt-putt. You go, to the different spots. We're gonna go to Martha's Vineyard one day. Take the
get it?
ferry
Get
over
it?
there.
Get it?
Yeah,
Do you ever-
because my girlfriend's name is
Yeah,
Martha.
when you ever go to Martha's Vineyard with your girlfriend Martha, are you ever like, so like, how'd you get this vineyard? You know what I mean?
I'm in Martha right now.
Oh,
so like
what
Martha's
the
Vineyard.
fuck?
Sorry.
Jesus
but I'm
Christ.
talking about the island. I'm talking about the
It's
island.
a goddamn kids show.
I apologize to the children out there. I don't have sex.
No.
Please don't cut that, anybody. I do not want to see that under my tweets.
Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah.
Wait, Jake, cut the last
Jake, cut
30
this
minutes of this out.
Cut this out.
Please. You go down to downtown Hyannis, you do some of the shops, like all that kind of bullshit. But it's like slow living down here. It's just kind of out in the sun and letting it hit you,
Okay.
feeling it on your skin a bit.
Yeah. I don't want to see that. Jake, have you ever been to the Cape?
I've been a couple times, but not too much.
What do you do while you're there?
One of my buddies has a house down there, so I've been there like 3 times and just go to the beach and get ice cream and stuff.
Yeah. Booze up.
Oh, booze up, bro. Yeah.
All right. Don't.
Alcohol,
Fuck you.
dude. Yeah. Tyler, were you drunk yesterday when you were texting me? None of that made sense.
Dude, I was plastered when I was texting you. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I had gone out to dinner.
Never,
you know,
by the way, never text me, dude, ... Never do that again.
It was 5 text messages and only the first one went through.
Yeah, but like, yeah, of course. Yeah. So this motherfucker texts me, dude, ... at 7:37, does not respond again until 8:14. You can't do that.
It was supposed to be a response. I think you had texted me something. You asked me
I
a
said,
question
where the
or
fuck
whatever.
are all the highlight people today? Because no one was cutting highlights for the Red Sox game. I was like, I think someone, what happened? Maybe like Duran made a sick catch. I don't know. Someone did something. And I was like, where the fuck are all the highlights? And I knew that you also cared about that. So I was like, where the fuck are all the highlight people today? And then you text me back an hour later. So like the dude ... in my mind has nothing to do with what I said because it was an hour later. And I just was like, what?
Listen, I was bulking at the 99 when you had texted me, and I was putting down a couple of those 32-ounce beers.
This is what you said. I have no idea. Down here with shit Wi-Fi, and I can barely refresh. Just watching the game at the 99 in a dead zone. Oops, all my texts went through. Ducking Cape has Walmart Wi-Fi.
That's basically me.
Yeah.
I was battling, but I was watching. I was sitting at the 99, feeling it through, watching them get walked off.
God. One of my friends, fucking not Steve Peralt, the other Steve, Fenway Steve. He'll do the same thing. He'll text me and just be like, bro. And I'm like, don't do that. You can't text me ominous single word things. Just like say the thing that you need to say. Fucking, it drives me nuts.
You are surprisingly such a good texter, and you have like the least like textable profile I've ever seen.
What do you mean?
Like you're not supposed to be someone who's good at texting. Like you're kind of to yourself. Like, you know, you kind of like to do your own thing, introverted like that way. And then like you text Jared will hit you back within 5 minutes, 99% of the time.
It depends.
Like,
it depends. Cause like I'm not always in, like with you and Jake, yes. But then like a lot of the times it's just like I can't have a conversation.
Like Jared knows me so well, and this is funny. There's been things where he's had to remind me because he knows I have like a goldfish brain. He's like, Tyler, go do this, or don't forget to do this today. And I'm like, every single time, I'm like, thank you so much. I completely forgot I had to do this today. And you're on top of it. Like I'll read a text from someone. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll respond in a minute. An hour later, I have Jared having an absolute panic attack.
Yeah. Like it's very funny. Like if you were to ask 10 people in my life, is Jared a good texter? You will get wildly different answers. Wildly different.
I'm awful at texting with just about anyone. I'm a voice memo guy.
You've never sent me a voice memo before.
Well, yeah, I respect you. I do it to the other people in my life. But like I'll text my buddies. They'll send me a text and like 2 days later, I'll be like, hey man, I'm sorry, I'm just getting back to you. And I'll talk for like 5 minutes into a voice memo as I'm driving. Like, oh shit, I've been going for a while, man. Hope everything's good. And then I send it, and then you never get a response back because who's gonna listen to a fucking 5 minute?
No
voice
chance.
Memo?
No chance.
I'm a dickhead.
When you send voice memos that are that long, the first thought that should come to your mind is like, all right, like I'm 2 minutes into this thing. I'm just gonna cancel this and call the person. I'm just gonna call you. And then if I see a voice memo and it's like 3 minutes long, like you have to be like staring at your screen and tapping your screen so that the screen doesn't fall asleep, because then it starts the voice memo over. Like you can't skip in a voice memo.
Yeah, that and if it stops, then it goes all the way to the beginning. Big problem. But I don't know. I guess I'm not
I just
caring.
looked at my text messages with Steve. He texted me, wow, ! And I'm like, what? I was like, you can't text people with anxiety random shit like that with no context.
I'm just going to start trolling you from now on. Any middle of the night, please. But yeah, I don't know. I'm weird like that. I need to work on my texting.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Sometimes I'm a good texter. Like you just gotta get me at the right time.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing something, then it'll take a minute.
Mhm.
Like, you know, sometimes as a good friend, I'm like, hey, good luck. I'm like, oh, I know he's in the middle of doing shit right now. Like, I know he's fucking busy.
But I would always
like,
answer you.
Of course. I think like that. Like, I'm like, oh, good luck with this today or good luck with that. And then someone will text me and I don't respond for like 2 days because I'm a piece of shit. My DMs, dude, I'm sorry to anyone who's ever DM'd me that you know if you have. It is hit and miss as much as anything in the entire world. That is one of my worst qualities.
It is.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You never gave your thoughts on this podcast about the submarine.
I know. Why didn't we talk about that?
Mr. Titanic himself.
Mr. Titanic Dick.
Fuck you.
I mean, talking about things that are entertaining. Let's talk about Max for a second. Because if you're like me, what you watch depends on what kind of mood you're in. Kind of like when I'm texting. That's why Max is my first pick for winning entertainment. Sometimes I'm craving comedies like Friends or South Park, and sometimes I'm totally into dramas like HBO original Succession and the House of the Dragon. I also love cooking shows like Chopped and Beat Bobby Flay. And don't get me started with movies like The Lord of the Rings and Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Well, Max is the streaming destination that has the best of entertainment for whatever mood that I'm in anytime. And plans start as little as $9.99 a month. Max, the one to watch. Subscription required. Visit max.com. Yeah, so the people were like, huge miss if they don't talk about the Titanic. We didn't. All right. Here's my whole thought on it. I felt like I was living in an alternate universe because I am such a Titanic weirdo. And before, it reminds me almost of like the movie, because when I've said this before, when I was in first grade, there was a book that I actually stole from my classroom. It was about like the ocean, and there was a chapter about like sea wrecks, and then I found this chapter about the Titanic, and I was hooked from reading this book. Had not, like, the movie wasn't even thought of yet. And my dad would bring me to Barnes and Noble, and I would pick out 6 books, and he'd be like, just pick one. And I'm like, I want all 6. And then he would buy me all 6. And I had a library case of Titanic books. And then the movie came out, and I was like, holy fuck. And then I became obsessed with the movie. I had the movie poster in my room. We talked about the piggy bank that I had of like the sinking Titanic. I had like a paperweight that was the Titanic, like the steering wheel. I had Titanic stuff out the ass. I had like a die cast metal Titanic model in my room. So then I didn't know about, like, I know that people go down in the fucking submarines to see the Titanic every now and then, but I didn't know about this fucking tin can submersible, which, by the way, shout out to Pat Light. Now I know the difference. Pat Light, because I said this on Baseball is Dead. I was like, why does Dallas keep calling it a submersible? And by the way, Dallas does not know why. He just calls it a submersible. But the reason is a submarine doesn't need a mothership, and a submersible does.
Fake submarine.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's like a minor league submarine. So then, like, if I were to tell you, like, if before all the submersible drama stuff happens, if you were to open up my YouTube page, like my front page or whatever, and like the recommended videos, you would have seen Titanic recommended for you stuff before this happened. Like, there was an off night probably like a month or two ago. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you know that we've talked about the Titanic this season multiple times. And so then to have the Titanic be in the news again was just like bizarre to me, where it was just like, wait a second, like this happened in 1912 and now we're talking about it like it's fresh news again. But anyways, that guy was a fucking idiot. Like, what are we doing here? Jesus Christ. Not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but I mean, what a fucking idiot that guy
Bro,
was.
he earned that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you deserve it, and he deserved it. He took people with him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I know. I saw a lot of people being like, well, they're billionaires, so they deserve to die. And it's like, well, no, but
Bro.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done more due diligence on the matter. And then you see all these other like clout chasers coming forward, being like, "Oh man, like I could have been on that." Oh,
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr.
I
Beast
saw-
put like his text message. I'm like, all right, like way to make it about you, bud. I like Mr. Beast, but actually, Mr. Beast fucked me over. Did you know about this?
What?
Yeah.
How?
Jake, did you know about this?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
Wait, he played college baseball. I know that. Does it have to do with
Nope.
something like that?
Nope. I believe the year was 2019, and I was live streaming. I believe Pat Light was in the room. It was me, Pat Light, Hubs, maybe Coley, Marty Mush, like some of those guys. And we were just streaming, like watching a bunch of baseball games. And Mr. Beast was hopping around different live streams. And, you know, he has more money than God. So they were doing like a thing where it's like first person to scratch their nose, we're going to like send him like $10,000 or whatever it was. It was like a lot of money. And I went like this, and he didn't consider that scratching my nose because I didn't touch my nose. Like I like went under it.
It's the undercarriage of the nose.
Yeah. Like I went like this.
The balls.
I went like this, and they're like, "Oh, so close." And I mean, the video has like millions of views, like on his YouTube channel, but it's just me, Hubs, and fucking Pat Light watching baseball. And he was skipping around random Twitch streams to see like whoever touches their nose first gets $5,000 or whatever amount of money it was. And I like touched underneath my nose, and he didn't count it as because I didn't touch like my actual nose. So yeah, Mr. Beast screwed me.
Robbed you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to.
I was thinking
Mr. Beast
10K.
touch nose money.
I've seen, I remember him doing those kind of videos too.
Krabis, Mr. Beast. Let's see if anything comes up.
Video probably has like 5 to 10 million views. Anything he posts immediately blows up now.
Yeah, I mean,
dude was chilling with Tom Brady on a yacht like a week ago.
Was he really?
Yeah, him, Pete Davidson. They were like doing all kinds of different shit.
Jared Carabas was in Mr. Beast's video. It was $8,000.
All right.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. If Jared Carabas touched his nose, Mr. Beast would have given him $8,000. And I'm gonna DM you the picture, and you tell me if I'm touching my fucking nose or not. For $8,000.
What would you have done with the $8,000, Jared?
I'll probably bought another necklace or something. Look at that.
Oh my God, dude!
I'm
you're
touching my
basically
nose.
You're picking your nose in this picture.
Right?
That's absurd.
That's crazy.
You were fucking robbed.
Crazy, Jake. I'm gonna show you right now.
Oh my God, he zoomed in too. He stood on this one.
If I touch my nose, I get $8,000.
That's a touch.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's horseshit.
Fuck Mr. Beast. I'm sorry.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's crazy.
Dickhead move.
Yeah. And Mr. Beast responded, and he zoomed in, and he claims that I didn't touch my nose.
It is pretty cool to say that Mr. Beast knows who you are, though.
His face, no nose scratches. He's closed. He's touching the stat.
I mean,
he scratched his face.
This guy's touching his face, no nose scratches. He's closed. He's touching the stat.
I was doing this, and then I definitely fucking touched my nose. I was robbed of $8,000, which is nothing new in my life, apparently.
Sorry.
Yeah, well.
There was one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about today.
Please.
Did you see Bloom's comments about acquiring starting pitching?
No.
So basically he spoke with Maz Live, and they were, it was following right up after, they knew Houck was going to be out for some time. And I thought his comments kind of told you what this trade deadline is going to be and how they're going to approach it. And this is how he put it. He's like, you have to constantly be on the lookout to add it and constantly pushing yourself to see if you can get more out of the guys that are in-house. Because if you can help someone take that leap to where they really become a viable part of the mix, it just gives you that many more options moving forward. So I think that's where you should look at it and say, all right, they're going to just continue to push some of these younger arms and hope they develop into what they need to. Like Cutter Crawford's going to continue to be starting every fifth day. And he was fine today, 6 innings, 4 runs, whatever. But I think they're going to keep pushing like a Chris Murphy and be like, all right, let's see how much of a reliever we can turn him into here in that situation and let the development go. And it didn't stop there. He kept kind of diving in and he goes, one of the things I've learned in this new calendar with where the draft is now, you see these discussions start to happen now in June, and then for the most part, they go on a little bit of a hiatus around the draft. So I think that's why we've seen a couple trades the last day, like Eduardo Escobar, but I don't have high expectations. I think they may buy a little bit, but it'll either be super interchangeable parts that cost nothing or a long-term piece. I don't think it's going to be anything else outside of that.
I'm prepared to be disappointed.
It's going to be buy and sell, but can you do it correctly? And you don't go over the luxury tax this time.
I'm prepared to be incredibly disappointed.
Do you think there's a pathway to you being happy about it?
Such as?
If I get you a controllable starter.
How are you going to do all this without going over? Like what piece that's making
someone
money
younger.
are you? I mean, you're still going to have to trade someone that's making decent money.
Yeah, so let's say you take James Paxton out of the mix. Yeah. You get rid of one of the relievers as well. Pick one of your poison, Kenley or Chris Martin. And you factor in Duvall as well. Those are the 3 pieces heading out. And you package maybe a Nick York, maybe a Ceddanne Rafaela if you believe Jarren Duran is the guy.
Just got promoted.
Forward. Yep, up to AAA. Those 2 and another piece. And you're starting to package. And I'm not saying like this isn't a Dylan Cease package. Dylan Cease would cost more than this most likely. But you're getting something along the lines of a controllable, decent piece. Maybe someone who's young, who may have a WAR or 2, but you really like the profile. Like a Joe Kelly.
That's just that's not going to make me happy.
Even if it's someone like, all right, I can see this guy contributing for the next couple years, and we go and get like a cheap reliever rental to maybe fill up the gaps as John Schreiber comes back.
It depends on who the piece is. Like I would have to believe in it. I would have to. There's not a whole lot of cheap, cost controlled, under contract or under team control for like the next, call it 3 to 4 years. Like, who's that guy? Like, everyone's going to say Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease ain't coming here.
No, I'd look more and like maybe it's not a perfect comp, but somewhere like the Cardinals where they have a super crowded outfield, right? And you say, you know what? Like, we think Yoshida is going to be our DH of the future. He's going to take Justin Turner's spot in a year. Do we kind of pick something out of there? Is there something there that we like that we can say, all right, you come over here now. We'll work through the warts. You know, you haven't been able to either pop at the big league level. Maybe you're gone through your own struggles. Tyler O'Neill. We like you moving forward here.
No.
Doesn't do much for you. I'm trying to give you something.
No. I have zero expectations for this trade deadline. In terms of like, holy shit, this is exciting. Or, wow, we just took a massive leap towards being contenders in the future.
And the last thing, like you kind of said, teams, they love to hold on to those cheaper controllable pieces. That's what's kind of running the game. It's going to cost something significant. But I do think there is something there with like a Nick York and another piece.
Well, I told you,
Nick York even back in the top 100.
The last trade deadline, how I was hammering home how teams, it's not about wanting to hold on to players because you believe in the player. It's because teams are now afraid of losing a trade. Like
Joe Ryan.
Yeah. Teams don't want to be the team where it's like, I can't fucking believe we gave up Zach Gallen and Sandy Alcantara. Like they don't want to be that. No one wants to be like, wow, what a dumb fucking organization for doing that.
That's where I'd be like, can you take advantage of someone like the Reds? Can you take advantage of a team like that has some magic going? Maybe they're like, you know, we can add James Paxton, like get a little more of a veteran here. Won't like kill us long term. It's $4 million for this year. We don't have to spend a ton of money. Can you nab a name out of that farm system and be like, they were a little desperate. We caught them at the right time, and now we can add them to this kind of collection we're building here. Because if you can get this farm system, like I know Fangraphs had it top 10, and they had like Yoshida and Casas as part of it, so that alters it. It's an improving farm system. There's good pitching breakouts down in the lower minors. If you can sprinkle in a couple more pieces, then you do have a farm system. I think that at least going into next year, you can be like, all right, we should be moving in the right direction. And we also have one of the better farm systems in baseball. And then what can you do with that with another offseason? You're kicking the can down. Like you're still building towards next year. But I think that lands us in the same spot where how excited does that get you for the next 3 months of baseball?
Not very.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to like at least have an open mind, you know? It's
a hard when you walk that line of buy and sell, it is so fucking hard. And like that's the game they're going to have to play here.
Yeah, which is why I'm kind of just sitting here being like I'll react to it when it happens. I'm not going to expect anything. I'm going to temper my expectations. I certainly don't think that, I mean, I don't know if it's just like the media coverage in years past when I was growing up, when I was your age, there used to be reporters that would put stuff out right now. Like, you know, the buzz is that, you know, expect the Red Sox to have a monster trade deadline. Like the Red Sox are going to make some surprising moves that are going to change the entire landscape of professional baseball. Be on the lookout for that. And then if it didn't happen, then it'd be like, fuck. But at least you had something to be excited about. Like right now, we've more or less been trained to not expect anything.
Well, this front office doesn't let anything out. That's if you're going to give them any credit, nothing gets out from them.
No.
At least in terms of player personnel. There's been some other stuff, but player personnel wise, we have got nothing.
Nothing. You could say that nothing leaks, or you could look back and be like, what was there to leak? What the fuck did they just out of nowhere drop from the clouds and be like, surprise, we did this big thing?
Kenley, Yoshida.
No.
I felt like a lot of this stuff last offseason.
Like,
we were all sitting there like, holy shit. And then we were like, this is about to be a monster payoff. Like, you're going to get Xander Bogaerts. You're going to get all this different stuff.
No. I think Yoshida, I think when they signed Trevor Story, and I like Trevor Story a lot. I'm glad that he's on this team. But when they signed Trevor Story, that should have been more like a complimentary, like that. Like the Trevor Story player profile is like back in the day would have been like a complimentary piece. It would have been like, all right, like that's fucking great. Like he's going to help us a lot, but it wasn't like a boom, Trevor Story. Like it wasn't like that. Like it didn't, it wasn't earth shattering.
What's boom to you? Or are you like Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford?
When they traded for Chris Sale, that was like, holy fuck. When they signed David Price, that was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I get it. I think when you look at some of those signings, though, it's like they're going to be very like Chris Sale's different, right? Like that's trading for a pitcher where you're like, we're about to take that leap.
Yeah,
like we're about freaking
trading for Craig Kimbrell. It was like what? Like
yeah.
And I'm not trying to pump Dave Dombrowski. I know like I'm mentioning a lot of Dave Dombrowski stuff here, but those were the type of moves that everyone stopped what they were doing. They were like, holy fuck, like let's go. Like this is like a big move. Like I wouldn't put Story in that category. Again, I like the player a lot, but it wasn't like a holy fuck, like let's go. Like it wasn't like that. And I think some people reacted to it because it had been so long since we had something like that to react to. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have like something big happen.
I'd put Trevor Story pretty high. I wouldn't put him at David Price. Like you're handing out the biggest pitching contract ever. At the time. Like, that was crazy.
Sale, like
maybe
like,
Craig Kimbrell. I'd maybe put it on that kind of tier where you're getting a very good player.
Kimbrell at the time, it was like this dude is one of the best closers in baseball.
Yeah, Trevor Story, like before a down year, he was one of the better shortstops in baseball.
It wasn't like Carlos Correa. And
no,
Francisco
but it's a closer.
Lindor
We're talking about a closer. We're not talking about an everyday player. Like
I know,
it's
but
a
I'm
closer.
talking about like what tier of shortstop was Trevor Story in, and you have to remember they signed him to be a second baseman. So it's like you can't say, oh, he's in the elite tier of shortstops if you signed him to play second base.
No, but you were signing him to play second base because you already had a shortstop that was amongst some of the best in baseball at that time. But I think you kind of have the conversation like closers carry hype. Are you going to get that top of the top level hype signing? It's going to take a long-term commitment,
you know what,
right?
You know
like,
what
and
this
I think
feels like?
Go ahead.
This feels like Christmas as you get older. It's like, oh, Christmas, like, and then you remember how exciting it was to wake up on Christmas morning and have all these like big boxes and like awesome presents and gifts to open, and just like the joy of like, I don't even know what I'm gonna get, but I know I'm gonna get something fucking awesome, a bunch of stuff that's awesome. And then you get older and the boxes get smaller and fewer, and then it becomes about everyone else. It's not about you anymore. So that's what it kind of feels like is Christmas is coming, and it's not about me anymore. Like I'm not. I know that there's not going to be a big box under the tree, and I know that like Santa's not going all out for me anymore. Like that's a thing of the past. That's when I was a little kid. Like I used to have big exciting Christmases, and now I'm a big boy, and big boys don't get lots of presents like that. That's what the trade deadline feels like to me, and that's what free agency feels like to me. No.
I think you get a lot more of the middle tier, and I think that's where you go back to their philosophies. They're not interested in the big fish; they're more interested in spreading the money. They want more, medium-sized things, and they want the heavy David Price contract that ends up costing you one of the reasons you have to trade Mookie Betts.
I mean, you saw Coley's tweet the other day about Ellie De La Cruz, and it's his point was everyone wants to attribute the popularity and success of like the viewership and attendance of Major League Baseball to shortening the games. Like now they're more consumable, so that's why everyone's coming back. And Coley's point was it's because there's way more talented and cool and exciting players in the game than maybe ever. And then you look around, you're like, well, how many of those players are on the Red Sox?
And I think that's where they tell you, like, you had to wait for Ellie De La Cruz. You're going to have to wait for Marcel Meyer. Like, you're going to have to wait for your top 10 prospect in all of baseball to show up.
Is he in the same tier as Ellie De La Cruz?
I don't think any. I think he's the only one in that tier of that kind of freak athleticism. But you're talking a top 10 prospect in baseball. That's Marcel Meyer. Like, if Marcel Meyer's Corey Seager, what does that do for you? He's not going to be as running exciting as Ellie De La Cruz is and be the 15 homers in 54 games, 55 games for him right now. Yeah. Like that's kind of what you look at here. Like, let's look up how many homers Marcel Meyer's hit, who he's been showing a lot more power overall this year, I think, compared to a year ago. But that's the stuff you cling on. Like, is he the all-rounded tool version of Ellie De La Cruz? No. But does he also have the potential to be Corey Seager? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his own skill set that's exciting.
It's just a different profile. Yeah, you look at homers this year, he's up to 12 in 56 games.
Okay.
So, like, what? That's 36 over 162?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you buy on. It's just, I have a hard time.
But that's also part of it is years away.
Yeah, it is. Like, Ellie De La Cruz is one of the few guys who've come up and it immediately pops. Not everyone is that.
No.
And that's where you got to look at the Red Sox and say, how patient are you willing to be here?
Yeah.
Just like Tristan Casas. Tristan Casas is going to be one of the better hitters, like, for the Red Sox for years to come. Doesn't always happen right away. You got to be patient with it. I have a hard time believing, like, Devers got that huge $300 million contract. Like, that's where that contract went. Are they going to be handing out a couple of those like the Padres? No. And there's a reason. Everyone knows where the Padres are going.
Yeah.
They're going in the wrong direction. Like, that's the reality of it. I think more likely it's going to be like the Mets, or not like the Mets, like the Braves, where you spread the money out. You try to take care of guys early, but you're not going to have a bunch of guys absolutely holding the roster down.
You got to also hit on those too. Like Acuna, fucking grand slam. Like Ozzy Albies, like, yes. Matt Olson, yes. Austin Riley, hasn't worked out to what they would hope so yet, but like it's been there. It's not like a guy was in the big leagues for 2 weeks and then you gave him that deal. Like he's been really good overall. But with the Red Sox, it's like, Bello, get it done. Like I feel like that's got to be something that they explore. Like, have you seen enough where it's not a knee-jerk reaction to give Brian Bello a nice 8-year deal? So it's like, all right, we buy up all the arbitration years and 2 years of free agency?
Yeah, those are the kind of deals. Like, you got one done with Whitlock. It's like, how many can you hand out over the next couple of years? If Casas hits the rest of the year like this, like he's been hitting, that's a conversation I'm having. It's like, yeah, if you can post somewhere in the middle of an 800 OPS for, an entire summer, then yeah, let's talk a contract. Let's see what we can do here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I think you have to consider if you're a fan of the Red Sox is that, like, yeah, if you give Bello an 8-year deal right now, that buys up 3 years of free agency, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like there's moments like those David Price contracts and those Chris Sale trades. We've been waiting for the Chris Sale trade for this organization, for this farm system for some time. When are you going to cash some of those assets in for a legit piece? We're waiting on that. That needs to come. I think if you're looking for a David Price contract, there's not going to be many of those.
No, nor
that
should they.
Any team is hanging out at this point.
No, nor should they be. I don't think that, again, I'm not advocating for the Red Sox to adopt the Dave Dombrowski approach where it's just, hey, trade all of our top prospects for one guy. And I mean, it worked out. It worked out. But then at what cost? You asked the question, at what cost? You trade these guys for Craig Kimbrell, and I guess it worked out. I mean, he wasn't a huge part of the 18 piece, but was outstanding in 17. You gave David Price all that money. They don't win that championship without David Price. So sometimes it works out, but then you look around the league and it's like, well, the Mets, the Padres, the Phillies, which again, Dave Dombrowski run team. So again, not to go, slob Dombrowski too much here, but it's, all I'm trying to say is that I miss Christmas morning as a kid. I miss that Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan breaking in all caps, seeing the Boston Red Sox have acquired, have signed, have agreed to terms with. I mean, don't get me wrong. That Devers extension tweet, that
you have to give that as one.
Yes.
It's a $300 million contract.
You have to give it up for that. Yes. And I don't want to get greedy here. I am very thankful for that, even though the first year has been bad. I am not worried about Rafael Devers. I'm just talking about, Rafael Devers was already here, and he needs to be here moving forward if you're going to contend for a championship. Yes, but it needed to be Rafael Devers, and then what?
You're looking for, you need to go pay an ace. Go get me that number one guy I can sit at the top of my rotation. Mm-hmm. Now, are you going to pay him, or are you going to go somehow put a deal together where you can make that happen? I don't know if you can put that trade together at the moment, but you'll have a chance to pay someone this offseason. You need to do it.
Is it weird if I say that I would rather have teasing rumblings that let me down than no rumblings and then nothing happening?
No, I would take some teasing. It would be nice to feel like you're like in the middle, but then the fallout of it would probably be horrendous.
Yeah.
And you'll get the whole, interest kings, yada, yada, yada. Look at them. They never actually got the deal done.
I'm not tweeting shit during the trade deadline.
No, I would like, my biggest kind of complaint at times, I'm waiting to see some of the Chaim Bloom creativity with a trade. Bring a trade where I'm like, oh, wow, like that's an interesting fucking trade that he pieced together there. Like, give me something a little wild, a little wacky that no one could kind of see, where you're like, oh, this is a move that really helps them moving forward. It makes some sense now. Like, that's some of the Chaim Bloom creativity that we were looking for when you initially joined this.
What if that's Verdugo?
Depends on what's coming back. I would prefer to extend Verdugo, but if that's the kind of piece you have to give up and you're like, well, we're going to open up time for Duran, and this is the way we had to use a chip like that, but it's going to cost something to get something. And like, I'm okay doing something like that, but it opens another legit hole for you moving forward. Because I had no disrespect to Ceddanne Rafaela. I have concerns about the bat at the big league level. It's nice that he got promoted today. A lot of the chase rate stuff, all that is still a problem. And the reality is he didn't really take to the changes. He's just gone back to being him because that's what's working.
Jake, what are your expectations for the trade deadline? By the way, what's the date? They always fucking move it around. Is it August 2nd?
Is it?
MLB trade deadline 2023, August 1st. August 1st. But we've already seen some teams make some moves.
Give me that creative move this deadline that surprises some people and say, oh, all right, the Red Sox have picked a direction and they're fucking running down towards it at this point.
Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they could do something creative like that, but like Jared said earlier, I don't think there's anything they can really do that's going to make me be like, holy shit, let's go. So, I mean, they're just playing 500 ball, so I don't think they're going to be like swinging huge in either direction.
But we'll see. We'll see. I just want to feel something. Is that so much to ask?
I want something long term. That's my state on the deadline. Get me something long term.
Yeah. like when they went out and got Alan Craig. That was
just do it the right way. Don't fuck it up.
Who was that? That was John Lackey, right? I broke that trade.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
Mhm.
I remember I was actually down the Cape when this happened, and I was sitting in the car with my dad driving home from the Cape.
Yeah, that's why I hate breaking news. Is because I broke the John Lackey trade, and everyone's like, "Who the fuck are you? What do you think?"
It like those deals are hard, but if the Red Sox, and that's the hard thing, you can't. How much money can you take on here? And that's where the limitations are, because they're not going over the luxury tax again. You can do some things when you're willing to take money on.
I'm gonna try and find that tweet. What was that? 2014.
Yeah. And it's not only taking money on, but it's not ruining, you don't want to push Alex Cora over the ledge here. But if it makes you better, then maybe you do consider it. Long term.
Yeah,
If you
search
Go
my
ahead.
name, if you search my name in source, there's some stuff in here. July 29, 2015. Source. Jackie Bradley Jr. was the Angels' first choice, but the Red Sox wouldn't do it. Settled on Shane Victorino. How the fuck did I know that?
You don't remember?
No.
On the scale of 1 to 10, what would you have rated the Trevor Story signing? Like in terms of hype?
Like a 6.8.
What would you rate the sale trade? 10?
Yeah, like a 9.8. Yeah.
What would you put Kimbrel?
Like a 8.7.
See, and I'd put Story like 7.75 to 8.
No.
Because I felt like that was a move people at the time were like, all right, the Red Sox are going in and they're pushing to try after 2021.
That deal to me always felt like we need to do something. Like we can't just do nothing. And he's just out there. Might as well.
I don't know. I didn't look down at Trevor. I thought I looked at Trevor Story as like, this is a guy who's like a 2020 guy with like really good defense that can kind of give you the all around element.
I found it.
To a team.
July 30th, 2014. Spoke to a source within the Red Sox. Quote, Lackey is gone. He asked to be traded.
There it is.
And then I remember people, like, some of the replies were just fucking, who the fuck do you think? Who the fuck are you, dude?
Look at it now.
I mean, they're right. Like, back in 2014, I would have been like, seriously, who the fuck is this kid? Well, anyways, John Lackey got traded. I don't know if you know that.
Breaking.
Yeah. Breaking news. How old were you in 2014?
16? Yeah, 16.
You want to look ahead?
Let's do it.
Yeah. You gotta go to the beach, wherever the fuck you guys are doing.
Facts.
Yeah. What are you doing tonight?
We're going out to dinner after this.
Oh, okay. All
I'm
right.
about to go drown myself in food.
Attaboy. All right, we got to take a break and talk about Zyn nicotine pouches. We're always talking about what a team needs to get to number one, but Zyn nicotine pouches are already there. Zyn has helped millions of people achieve lasting change, earning the title of America's number one nicotine pouch. If you're a smoker or you're a dipper looking to make a change, look no further than Zyn. Zyn is made with 6 simple ingredients and is available in a wide range of varieties, including spearmint, citrus, and even coffee. And it's available in 2 strengths so you can control your nicotine satisfaction. Because it's discreet, you can enjoy it anywhere, anytime, so you never have to miss a moment of the game. Plus, every can of Zyn earns you points towards premium items like tailgating gear, top-of-the-line tech, Zyn swag, even gift cards. Find your Zyn at your local convenience store or online at Zyn.com. That's Zyn, Z-Y-N.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Red Sox versus the Miami Marlins at Fenway Park. It's going to be Garrett Whitlock versus Sandy Alcantara. Maybe Chris Murphy. Did Chris Murphy get named officially?
They're going opener on Wednesday. That's all. Bullpen game. They framed it.
Is Chris Murphy going to be the guy?
Or Thursday, excuse me. I'm assuming he'll be the bulk guy.
Okay. So let's just go with Chris Murphy. Braxton Garrett, Brian Bello versus Jesus Luzardo. Sandy Alcantara, 2-6 with a 5.08 ERA, a 125 whip, and a 7.3 strikeouts per nine. He is a mess. His ERA has more than doubled from its 2.28 last year. The FIP isn't as bad as his ERA, but 3.76 is still a big jump from 2.99 last year. His BABIP is 2.95, so not getting super unlucky, but his career average is 2.73, so much worse than he's used to. He's also walking people a good amount this year, 2.7 walks per nine versus 2 last year. He has 50 walks. He had 50 walks in 2022, and he has 29 already this year. Has 9 games with multiple walks and 6 games with 3+ walks. He's allowing 8.6 hits per nine, which is the worst of his career since his rookie season in 2017. In 4 starts in June, he's allowed exactly 5 earned runs in 3 of them. His June stats, 5.47 ERA, a 3.46 FIP, 2.82 batting average against, and a 7.29 OPS. He's still a horse, though. Only failed to complete 5 innings once this year and has pitched into the 7th in 7 of his 15 starts. The biggest difference for him this year has been the effectiveness of his changeup. In 2022, opponents hit 145 against it. This year, 322. He's lost a small amount of the fastball velocity, but only 0.4, so not that big of a difference. Still has not allowed a home run on his changeup since 2021. That's crazy. The Marlins are 6-9 when he starts. The Red Sox hitters are 179 with a 544 OPS against them. Turner 2 for 9 with a double and a homer. And he's going up against Garrett Whitlock, 4-2 with a 4.5 ERA, 122 whip, and a 7.6 strikeouts per nine. Not his best outing last time versus the White Sox, but he did complete 7 innings in back-to-back starts, which is a great sign. He also threw 92 and 88 pitches in those games, meaning he's being efficient. Since his return from injury, 5 starts, 30 innings, a 3.60 ERA, and a 3.10 FIP. Changeup has been very good in his last 3 starts. He's gotten 53.8%. 39.1% and 45.5% whiffs on his changeup. Hitters are 6 for 25, but 1 is a home run. The Red Sox are 5-3 when he starts and 4-1 since his return from injury. Marlins hitters 4 for 11. Gurriel is 0 for 5. Then we go to Braxton Garrett versus Chris Murphy. Braxton Garrett 3-2, a 3.54 ERA, a 1.15 whip, 10.6 strikeouts per nine. Had a bit of a breakout last year, but only threw 88 innings. He has continued this year with an excellent 3.11 FIP, the 10.6 strikeouts per nine. Very good. He does not walk people. 96th percentile in walk rate. Only has 2 games all year with multiple walks out of 15 total starts. He has 4 games with 0 walks. He's had an insane June. 4 starts, he's 4-0, 2.31 ERA, a 1.13 FIP. Not a fluke at all. The lefty does not throw very hard. His main fastball, sinker, averages 89.9 miles per hour. Number 2 pitch is the slider, 28% usage, 196 batting average against. The whiff number is crazy. It's 45%. He throws a curveball 10% of the time, and if he does, bang it. 467 batting average, 800 slug. Just a 10% whiff rate on the curveball. The Marlins are 11-4 when he starts and have won 5 straight and 7 of 8. Red Sox hitters 0 for 3, Duvall 0 for 2, and Turner 0 for 1. So, all right, whatever. He's going up against an opener, so then we can just skip right on down to Jesus Luzardo. 6-5, a 3.77 ERA, a 1.19 whip, 10.2 strikeouts per nine. This is another Marlin lefty who's having a good year. Luzardo with a 3.44 FIP to match his solid ERA. Has limited his walks this year, which had always been an issue for him. Career average is 3.2, and this year he's down to 2.3. Allowed 10 home runs in 103rd innings last year, and has allowed 11 in 90.2 innings this year. Very different pitcher from Garrett, though. He throws hard. 96.8 would be the average from the left side. Started throwing his fastball dramatically more this year. 43.5% usage this year compared to 29.2% last year. His slider, that's the bread and butter pitch. 230 batting average against, 440 slug, 50.5% whiff rate on the slider. Batters can do damage when they get a hold of it, but only 50% of swings result in contact. Coming off one of his best performances of the year, 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. The Marlins are 10-6 when he pitches. They have alternated wins and losses for his last 8 starts. Unfortunately, they lost the last one, so they're due for a dub. The Red Sox are 5 for 20 with a 598 OPS. Trevor Story is 3 for 4, so that makes the rest of the team 2 for 16. He is going up against our king, Brian Bello. Brian Bello is now 5-4 with a 3.27 ERA, a 1.27 WHIP, and an 8.5 strikeouts per 9. His FIP doesn't. I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but it does. It kind of like makes you feel incomplete. It's like you want to enjoy the 3.27 ERA, you want to enjoy the 8.5 strikeouts per 9, but then you see the FIP and you're like, well, this,
I think the thing you look at, like the last 10 starts, the FIP's more in the 3.5s, the ERA is more in the 2.5s. Mm-hmm. I think there's some truth to it where, yeah, it's cutting down on, some of the walks and different stuff like that. But the reality is it's partially high because of the homers he was giving up to start the year. Hasn't given up a homer in his last 5 starts.
So after his last start, his FIP is below 4 now. It's at 3.86. So that's a lot closer to what the ERA is now. After allowing a home run in his first 5 starts of the season, he's only allowed 2 in the 7 starts since then. Both were solo home runs and in the same game. That was the May 23rd start against, was it the Yankees? It must have been, right?
Yes.
He has not allowed a home run in his last 5 starts. Let's knock on wood about that. Are we concerned maybe a little bit about the fatigue, which is a point that Tyler brought up earlier? He averaged only 94 miles an hour with his sinker in his last start, which was the lowest of his career. In fact, he set a new career low on sinker velocity in 3 consecutive starts. So that, could point to some fatigue.
And the other thing, that's why he's getting an extra rest and starting on, Thursday? Yeah. And that's why Wednesday they're going with the opener.
Mm-hmm. The Red Sox are 8-4 when he starts, and they've won 3 straight. Marlins hitters 1 for 2 with a walk, and that is obviously Luis Arias. Okay. So again, that is Garrett Whitlock versus Sandy Alcantara. Opener versus Braxton Garrett. Brian Bello versus Jesus Luzardo in a 3-game series at Fenway. Tyler, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, I don't love this matchup for them. I think the Marlins are a lot better than people realize. They're 11 games over 500 currently, 7-3 in their last 10, and they pitch really well. And I'm scared where this lineup's up or at. Verdugo's coming back, on Tuesday, but he kind of didn't play for a weekend. So is it going to take him to kind of get back to where he was, where it was a 12-game hitting streak or whatever it may be? I feel like this could be a tough series for the Red Sox. I'm hopefully going to jinx them in the other direction, but I'm going to go 1 out of 3 for the Sox. And I'm terrified of Luis Arias. Terrified. Out of my mind. I fear that man.
I agree.
But the one win will be Bello. And just for context, on Wednesday, Cora said that they're considering Pivetta and Wink as well, depending on what they have to use on Tuesday.
Jake?
I'm going sweep, but they're one bad series away from getting hit with the reverse.
Okay. I think I'm going to be joining Tyler.
1 out of 3?
I think they go 1 out of 3 here. I think they win the first game.
Whitlock Day.
Yeah, I think they win the first game and then drop the next 2.
Then it's Toronto after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scary times.
Yep. Friday, the Jays come to town.
Watch them take care of business in that series, too. I could see a disappointing Marlins series, and then they show up against the Blue Jays for some fucking reason.
I mean, they swept them in 4 games this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you show up, but like that kind of just up and down. It's like, oh, here you go. A series against the Marlins, good team. Some people think the record's a little faulty, sure. But, they kind of get beat up by them and the White Sox, and then you go AL East opponent, you beat the fuck out of them again.
Yeah. All right. that's it from us. Tyler, enjoy your dinner.
I'll be very fucked up in 15 minutes.
I'm happy for you. You enjoy that. Everyone listening, enjoy your day off on Monday. God knows we've all earned it and deserved it. Again, if you're out there watching some Cape League baseball, I'll be at the Bourne Braves game Monday night, throwing up the first pitch to Jared Saltalamacchia, filming a little Nesson sesh. And then it's on to the Miami Marlins. So we'll see you on Thursday. For me, next time you see me, I'll be in fucking Chicago on Thursday night. I'll be in Chicago.
I did one thing, Jared.
Yeah.
About your, my mom was watching the Red Sox with me today,
Mhm.
and she said she really enjoys your commercials. I don't know what that means, but she made that clear to me.
Oh yeah, I do have a new commercial on Nesson. And
Dude, you're like to a break sometimes right now.
I'm what? Oh yeah,
There's two
yeah,
commercials
yeah.
of you a break.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. I'm getting sick of me. Yeah. That I had like a family party yesterday. All they could talk about was, well, I'd like to win a game watch with Jack Carabas. I would like to do that. How do we win? Oh, you should enter. Yeah, you should enter. Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny if you won and you got to go watch a game with Jared?
That's what my mom sounds like. Honestly.
All day. They that was the talk of the family party was winning a game, to go watch a game with me via Nesson and Blue Moon. And then we shot that commercial. I forget when we shot that. I don't know. It's probably like 3 weeks ago at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Like we shot that, and it's like I was like, can we at least wait until like we're hot, like to be like, you know, have you fucking seen this? It's like, yeah, they're game over 500 right now. Yeah, here it is.
When did history dictate the future?
When did history dictate the future, man?
We'll tell you a lot about it.
Yeah, we've heard it all before. But have you seen this?
Got to be kidding. Get the lights going.
This is a new vibe.
This is banana.
Stream anywhere, anytime.
Any fucking time.
American League D1.
What a night indeed.
Aren't you just a little bit curious?
Not really. Not really. So, I actually am curious about this series against the Marlins. Matty Backpacks is going to be back.
Oh, God. I can't wait. Oh, I can tell you right now, expect the Heim Bloom slander column coming. Not because of Matt Barnes, but it'll be someone looking for an angle off the Matt Barnes. Book
Maybe.
it.
I'm excited to see
Mr.
Matty
Abraham.
Backpacks come back. Luis Arias at Fenway Park. That's exciting. The Marlins are a good team. So to the question, aren't you a little bit curious? The answer to me, yeah, I'm a little bit curious. So, all right. Jake's takes?
I just want on the record that I was sent a graphic that I could have posted about Tyler that I held back on because it would have been horrific look for him. So just Tyler, don't say I never did anything for you.
What was it?
It had to do with him eating Wendy's as his leg routine.
Do I know who made this?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Corey.
What happened to Bullet?
Secondly,
He died.
Yeah, he did.
I just want to shout out the person who made who shot me a DM on Instagram. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. I sent it to Jared. I need to send it to you, Jake. I was gonna post it. I just was trying to figure out how I wanted to go about it. What was his name? Hold on. Let me stall here. But it was basically, we mentioned last episode we were gonna do, or someone should do like an EDM remix.
Oh yeah.
The positivity horn with
I
all
have
that. Do you want to play it one time?
Yeah, I'll play it one time. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, why not?
It is pretty fire.
Yeah, it's
Shout out Logan Ferguson.
Yeah.
What happened to Bullet? He died.
End it there.
amigos.